Hello and welcome to today's news on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ogunshakin. Let's move straight to the front pages of the dailies this morning. I'm starting with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with 10th National Assembly. How Akpabio, Abbas, flawed opponents. Nigerians want us to lift the economic burden, Tinubu tells Akpabio and Abbas. Asks National Assembly to work with him to deliver democracy dividends. Akpabio polls 63 votes to beat Yari 46 to emerge Senate president, extends olive branch to Yari and others. 359 lawmakers elect take hold of office. Barao Kalu emerge unopposed as deputy Senate president and deputy speaker. I shall be just, fair, guided by constitution. That's coming from Abbas. National Assembly gobs 2.618 trillion naira in 25 years. That can be seen on page 7 and on the stories on page 3 of Vanguard newspaper. And here we have two photo stories. First one is showing the clerk of the National Assembly, Mogaji Sani Tambua, administering oath of office on the newly elected Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio. With them is the clerk of the Senate, Mr. Chinedu Akubueze, during the inauguration of the 10th Senate in Abuja yesterday. The second picture is showing a clerk, House of Representative Yahaya, clerk to the National Assembly, Mogaji Sani Tambua, administering the oath of office on the newly elected Speaker, House of Representative, Tajuddin Abbas, during the inauguration of the 10th House of Representative in Abuja yesterday. On page 6, father, 4 children, 95 others die in Kwara boat mishap. On page 16, Baba Ahmed says that Tinubu must design a strong anti-corruption strategy and strengthen system that will keep public assets away from the reach of elected and appointed officials. On page 22, Babalola says that earlier we enact a new federal constitution, the sooner we can begin to witness economic recovery. It is a true federal constitution that will address the loose-sidedness of the 1999 constitution. On sports, Sierra Leone vs Nigeria, Osimhen arrives, 22 players now in camp. On page 8, governors ignorant of minimum wage, that's coming from NLC. On page 20, revenue from VAT CIT falls 18% to 1.18 trillion naira. Stories above, Nigeria's oil output rises 15.6% to 1.3 mbd. Some Nigerian returnees from Libya came without kidneys and biles. That's coming from NAPTIP. NIN enrollment rises 363.5% to 21.1 million in 3 years. Our plan for real wage, human, labor rights, others that's coming from federal government. Article 2 tribunals, summer INEC boss as witness. Benin government imposes curfew as communal crisis claims 3 lives in 2 local governments. The stories can be seen on pages 19, 6, 19, 9, 8, and 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. Now let's move to the nation. The nation is leading with Akpabio Abbas step in as Senate President and Speaker. Ex-Akwa Ibom Governor defeats Yari by 63 46 votes. Kaduna Rep triumphs by 353 3 over Wase and Jagi. And here there's a statement here, one from Akpabio. It says, "Let's put national interest first at all times. Our laws must protect our people, while our action must guarantee the most efficient use of our national commonwealth." End of quote. And from Abbas, it says, "We will work in harmony with the executive arm, upholding checks and balances, anchored on the principles of transparency, accountability, and respect for the rule of law." End of quote. Now, on page 28, our lawmakers defied parties. Let's work for our people, Tinubu urges National Assembly leaders. Stories above, Jonathan visit Tinubu Akeredolu on medical leave. Lastly, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, President, poverty should not stop any child from getting tertiary education. That can be seen on page 2 of the Nation newspaper. Now let's move to the Punch. The Punch is leading with 10th National Assembly, Tinubu's candidate floor APC, rebels, Akpabio leads Senate, Abbas beats Wase Jagi, emerges House Speaker, Yari embraces Akpabio after defeat, National Assembly won't be independent. President and picked leaders. That's coming from NNPP and Labour Party. That can be seen on page 2. France crash websites as GWR confirms Abbas's cooking record. That can be seen on page 54. Stories above, classified documents. Trump aide arrested, faced 37 counts. Lastly, on the Punch, Governor's mourn as 103 die in Kwara boat tragedy. Rescuers recover over 50 corpses, 50 passengers, children missing. That can be seen on pages 4 and 5. Now let's move to the Guardian. Guardian is leading with Tinubu's men lead 10th National Assembly vow not to be rubber stamp. Education curriculum, Nigerian needs for basic schools. Nigeria's production hits 1.2 MBD as Total announces oil discovery. Blood shortage bites other, with only 25% of transfusion demand met yearly. Akeredolu transmits power to Deputy Governor. That can be seen on page 8. And lastly, on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, Trump enters not guilty plea in classified document case. That can be seen on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. And that's all we have on the front pages of the daily list this morning. Join us after the break as our guests will be joining us via Zoom to analyze these stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today the News on Vanguard Live. My name is Damlola Ukunshakin. Joining me to analyze the front pages of the daily list this morning is Mr. Gbero Olajigbe. He is the Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Good morning, Mr. Gbero.
Good morning. It's a pleasure being with you.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Let's move straight to the stories on the front pages this morning. And we're talking about the 10th National Assembly and the House of Representatives as their leadership won their elections in style. What do you think about the new Senate President, Godswill Akpabio?
Well, I know that he has been governor in Akpabio. He was a senator before he became minister and now the Senate President. But the problem is that he has history. It's not that he has all this history of holding position. He equally have history of being accused of corruption. In the last 8 years, after 8 years as a governor, up till now, EFCC is still trying him. And each day, he has been presenting certificate of healed on the days of he's supposed to be in court. So I know that much of him. Even beyond that one when he was a governor, as a minister of Niger Delta, EFCC is equally probing him for corruption of over 40 billion naira. In Nigeria today, I'm talking of the one that just became the Senate President. That is the history. That is the curriculum vitae of Akpabio that has just become the Senate President of Nigeria. So that shows the type of country we run. That shows the type of government that continue to celebrate the worst of us and put them forward as leaders over institutions and government agencies and corporations in Nigeria. So Akpabio is not coming in only as a former commissioner, former governor, former minister, and even a legislator. He's equally coming in as